Hello everyone, my name is Jacinto7, and today I'll talk to you about the best alternative to gasoline-powered cars. When we talk about the issues that our world has today, the main one is usually climate change. Now, what causes climate change? That is pollution. Pollution is one of the greatest causes of pollution is cars, more specifically gasoline-powered cars. Now, we have to come up with a solution for this as soon as possible, because if not, we will have a world in the close future that is really unhealthy, and we don't want that. We want a clean and healthy world. So what we have to do to that is come up with an alternative to gasoline powered cars. This alternative is a free emission car, a car that doesn't produce CO2 that then goes out and hurts our atmosphere. The best alternative to gasoline powered cars is either electric cars or hydrogen cars. When we talk about hydrogen cars, a hydrogen car is a car that is fueled by a hydrogen fuel tank. Now, a hydrogen fuel tank contains a tank of hydrogen and a tank of oxygen. Now, the tank of hydrogen lets some of the hydrogen go into the tank of oxygen. Then the hydrogen and the oxygen combine together to create a chemical reaction, releasing H2O and producing energy. So this energy from this chemical reaction is what powers a hydrogen car. On the other hand, an electric car is more simple. It is just powered by a battery, an electric battery that it can be made of any size, and this is what powers the motor of an electric vehicle. So these are the two best alternatives to gasoline powered cars, and we will be comparing them today. We will be comparing them in means of the price, the price of to buy the vehicle and to charge it. We will compare the convenience of charging. Now, when we talk about convenience of charging, we mean the number of charging or fueling units in the United States and the amount of time that it takes to charge or fuel the vehicle. We also talk about range. When we talk about range, we mean the total mileage that a full tank or a full battery, the amount of miles that it can take the car before it runs out of battery or runs out of fuel. So we will start off with the convenience of charging. When we talk about the convenience of charging of hydrogen, it is not very convenient. As we can see in this map, these dots represent the fueling stations of hydrogen in the world, and there are not many. There are actually 39 total in the United States. We see most of them down here by California, 2 in South Carolina, and 2 in the northeast of the United States. So if you live in any state that is not close to these fueling stations and you have a hydrogen car, you will have a hard time finding a way to fuel your car. Because of this, it is at a clear disadvantage. Also, on the other hand, it doesn't take that long to fuel. It takes 3 to 4 minutes to refuel a whole hydrogen tank, which is very fast compared to an EV. An EV takes anywhere from 30 minutes to 12 hours to recharge a full battery. And this all depends on the size of the battery. But the good thing about EVs is that you can charge them at home. You can have a charging station in your garage, and you can charge your car at night and then wake up and have a car with a full battery. So that is something really neat about EVs that hydrogen cars do not have. So it is already an advantage because of that. Secondly, it does have a lot more charging stations in the United States. It actually has 40,000 charging stations. And this is due to it being, us having the modern technology to make a lot more of these cars and have a lot of them on the road. So that's why you see a lot of EVs on the road and you don't see a lot of hydrogen cars quite yet. So when we compare the actual data, we see that the EV does have a clear advantage, both in having a way larger number of charging stations in the US and having the ability of being charged at home with a charging station, even though it does take a lot longer to charge than a hydrogen car. Second, we will talk about range. Now, when we talk about the range of a hydrogen car, we do have the data for it, but it is not validated because we have not had the opportunity to have a hydrogen car on the road for a lot of years. So we don't know how that will affect the range of a hydrogen vehicle being on the road for 5 to 10 years. So we don't have that information yet, but the data does tell us that the range of a hydrogen vehicle can be anywhere from 200 miles to 250 miles. That is the average range of a hydrogen vehicle. On the other hand, an EV, we do have the data on because, you know, they have been on the roads for a couple years now and they are really popular. So the range of an EV can depend, it varies on the size of the battery, as I said earlier. So a small battery can go anywhere, can go as low as 100 miles. So it can go really low, but it can also go very high. So you can have an EV with a very large battery that can give you a mileage of 387 miles. That is the maximum that an EV can have. So when we compare the data, it is a little tricky to compare because you do have a lower minimum of the EVs and the hydrogen cars, but you do have a way larger maximum than the hydrogen vehicles. So we will give this section to the EVs as well because the maximum is way above the maximum of hydrogen cars. So we will give that to EVs as well. Lastly, we will talk about price. We'll talk about price. The price, as I said, it is also affected by the fact that we have more EVs out on the roads right now than hydrogen cars. So as we see in this graph right here, the price of EVs has been going down a lot throughout the years, especially these past couple years because of the technology that we have came up with. And it is getting close to that of industrial cars, but it is not there quite yet. The average price to buy an EV right now is around $50,000 to $55,000. And when it comes to charging, the price to charge a full battery is around $1.24 per gallon. So that is the average right now for an EV. For hydrogen cars, they are more expensive because they're not as common as EVs. They are more rare because of the technology that we don't have yet. So the average price of a hydrogen car right now is around $80,000, which is significantly higher than that of an EV. And it is also more expensive to charge. It is around $5 to $6 per gallon to refuel a hydrogen tank. So as we see in this table, a hydrogen vehicle is more expensive to buy, and it is also more expensive to refuel. And when we look at the three factors that we looked at today, you know, the convenience of charging, the price, and the range, the EV clearly wins this battle because not only is it cheaper to buy and to charge, but it can have a larger maximum of range, and it has a way larger number of charging stations in the United States. So because of these three factors, we conclude that EVs are the better alternative to gasoline powered cars.